Alright, so 4.3 notes you should have watched prior to class, but we're going to get into some examples of factoring. So I'm just going to work a whole bunch of examples to hopefully help you guys a little bit, especially since I'm not here. But basically we're just going to be factoring these. It's going to involve some different little factor trees. Honestly, a lot of this you'll be able to literally just do in your head, and that's completely fine with these ones. Next section, you actually have to do them. So basically I'm looking at this. There's a 1 here. So I just am concerned about the 10. I need factors of 10 that add up to -7. So 10 factors into 2 and 5. If I make them both negative, that keeps 10 positive, and that makes 7 be negative. So it's just going to be x minus 2, x minus 5, and I'm done. Okay, and I could write these two in either order. It doesn't matter. I could write x minus 5, then x minus 2. But that's literally all you have to do. Let's see. 6 r squared plus 15r plus 56. So this one's probably a little harder just to do just thinking about it, okay? But 56 factors into 8 and 7, 4 and 2, and so on and so forth. But I recognize that 8 and 7 adds up to 15. It also multiplies to give me 56. So I'm going to have r plus 8, r plus 7. It is possible that something might not be able to be factored. So just be aware of that if you can't find factors that work, it is possible that it is not factorable. 8q squared minus 11q plus 28. Okay, so with this one, I need factors of 28 that give me -11. So let's see, 28, 2 and 14, those don't work. 14 is 2 and 7. So pretty much my options are 4 and 7, 14 and 2. So yeah, that's pretty much my only option. So 4 and 7 do give me 11, and if I make them both negative, that keeps 28 positive and makes 11 negative. So q minus 4, q minus 7. Let's see, 10's a little more interesting. Okay, when we have to pay attention to the signs a little more. So x squared minus 4x minus 12. Okay, so I'm going to actually, we're going to do it. Okay, so basically I have -12, so I need factors of -12 that add up to give me 4. So 12 is 3 and 4, and then 4 is 2 and 2. So I need some combination of these. Well, 3 and 4 don't add up to give me 4, but 2 times 3 would give me 6 and 2. One of them needs to be negative because I have to get a negative here. So they can't both be negative, they can't both be positive. One has to be negative. I need the bigger one to be negative because this number here is negative. So it's going to be -6 and +2. So x minus 6, x plus 2. Okay, and I do feel bad that I'm not here to answer questions because I know this is kind of going fast, and it's a lot easier to do this when I have people in here that can give me feedback. So I really hope that this is making sense. Hopefully somebody in the class understands it pretty well and can help you guys. If there's really a problem, obviously I will try to respond if somebody sends me a message or something as quick as possible. But do your best with it, and I think you've seen this stuff before, so I might be thinking that I might be making this a little harder or not explaining it as well, but I think you've seen it before, so hopefully this is more of just a refresher than anything. Alright, 12c squared minus 9c minus 18. So I need to get factors of negative 18 that give me negative 9. So basically I'm going to need one factor that's positive, one factor that's negative because of this being negative. So 18, I have 6 and 3, or 2 and 3. So I could do 9 and 2, but that would give me 11. I could do 6 and 3, that gives me 9, but only if I add them together or subtract both, and that won't work with 18. And so it kind of looks like that's all my options. So nothing works, so we would say not factorable. Okay, that's really all you have to do for those ones. I know that that probably sounds kind of, I don't know, maybe these are easy, maybe these are hard. I don't really know, like I said, without feedback in here. But I hope this kind of makes sense with these easy ones, and hopefully when we get to the slightly harder ones on Monday, that it will make a little bit more sense seeing it with some of these numbers out front. Anyways, so I talked about in the notes that we have some special types. We have a difference of squares, and we have perfect square trinomial. Okay, so I'm just going to throw those back up here really quick so you guys can see this. So remember, a difference of squares, we start out with something like a squared minus b squared. This could be x squared minus 4, okay, things like that. But just remember that these could be numbers that have a square root, and so we just need to write them as their square root, okay? A lot of people will think, oh, this says 4, so I'm going to write 4 in both places. But if it's 4, it would actually be 2 squared. Okay, so that's just something to kind of keep in mind that I know can be a cause for error. The perfect square trinomial ones, basically you start out with something like this. If this sign is positive, this sign is positive. If this sign is negative, this sign is negative. You just write down basically what these are and square them. Okay, and obviously eventually we will go the other direction as well. But hopefully that kind of just gives you a refresher here before we do a couple of these problems. So, let's see. 16. So these ones also really don't require any work to be shown, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll show a little bit just to help you, but you really don't have to do anything. Okay, so what form is this? Well, it would be a difference of squares. Okay, and just this is a step you can write if you need to do this to see it so you don't accidentally make a mistake, because the big mistake here would be to write b plus 81, b minus 81. That is not true. Okay, you would need to think about this as b squared minus, and this also has to be a minus sign. If that's not a minus sign, this is not true. Okay, but this is 9 squared. So I'm going to have b plus 9, b minus 9. Okay, and if you're ever not sure, you can always go back and check. Okay, I really could have gone back and checked any of these ones as well. Okay, but basically to check it, b times b, b squared, plus 9b, minus 9b, minus 81, plus 9b, minus 9b in the middle cancel, leaving me with b squared minus 81. Okay, so just a couple things there. I would highly recommend you checking problems, especially right now while you're getting used to it. Like back up here, if I were to check 10, I would have x squared minus 6x plus 2x minus 12. So that minus 12 matches up. I had a negative 6x and a positive 2x. That gives me negative 4x. So I've checked that, and that's good. And you can just check it in your head. Sometimes I'll let you check it on paper for extra credit. I think I mentioned that in the notes, but just heads up there. Let's see, 18. T squared minus 16t plus 64. Okay, I'm going to draw this out. You don't have to do this step, but I'm going to draw this out so you see where this is coming from. Okay, so I have my t squared minus 2 times a times b. So I have to figure out what b is. Well, this is something squared, so this would be 8 squared, meaning this would be an 8 that goes in here. Okay, you do not have to show this step again. This is just purely to help you see what's going on, to compare it to this here. Okay, so I had a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, so a squared minus, or t squared minus 2, and then a times b plus b squared here. So that's just to help you see it. So it's just going to be t minus 8 squared. And it's the whole thing squared, so make sure you pay attention to that. And I know that it's kind of out of focus. I'm getting ready to focus it back in here for you guys really quick. Okay, so t minus 8 squared. And you got to make sure you have the whole thing in parentheses. The whole thing is being squared, not just part of it. Okay, so if you have 3 pieces, it comes down to 1. If you have 2 pieces, it stays 2 pieces. Just kind of a way to remember the difference of squares versus the perfect square trinomial option. Let's see. 20c squared plus 28c plus 196. Okay, so I'm not sure that you guys know right off the top of your head what the square root of 196 is or what times what gives you 196. But a good way to think about it is you have to have c squared plus 2 times some number times c plus this number squared. Well, 28 divided by 2 is what? 14. So 14 times c, so then this would tell me this is 14 squared. So that's just an easy way to be able to think about it when you have this special case of them. So I would just have c, this is positive, so it's going to be plus 14 whole thing squared. And last but not least, we have number 22. So s squared minus 26s plus 169. Okay, this is the last of this type. We have one more thing we have to do. It's all actually solving these equations, but it actually isn't that bad. So here, okay, I'm not going to write out this step. Hopefully you know that 13 squared is 169. So this is just going to be s minus 13, all that squared. So that's all you have to do for that one. All right, so anyways, those are the special types. Okay, sometimes I actually ask you for a bonus point to tell me what special type it is. So also make sure you know the difference in the two types, potentially as an extra credit. Obviously, all of this won't be extra credit, but there's a chance that some of it will be. So. All right. So the last thing that we are going to do is solving the equation. Okay, so you're probably like, okay, well, what were we just doing? Well, we were factoring. Now we're going to factor to solve. So something like 24 x squared minus 8x plus 12 is equal to 0. So we need to factor this and then set each piece equal to 0. Okay, which I think you've done this before as well, but not positive, so I'm going to work a couple examples here, and then I'm going to give you guys your problems to get working on for the rest of class. So, factors of 12, they give me 8. Okay, 3 and 4, 2 and 6. Well, 2 and 6 would easily do it. They can both be negative. That'll make this positive, and then it'll make this negative. So, x minus 2, x minus 6 is equal to 0. So, when it says to solve, you're going to take each piece and set it equal to 0. So I'm going to have x minus 2 is equal to 0, x minus 6 is equal to 0. Okay? So then I just solve for x. So x is equal to 2, x is equal to 6, and those are your answers there. Okay? So you factor first, then set each parentheses equal to 0. Let's see. Let's look at 28. Okay, b squared minus 6b plus 9. All right, so I want you to pause for a second, and I want you to think, what does this look like? Okay, this looks very similar to a special type that we have. Okay, b squared, this is 3 squared, this would be 2 times 3. So this would be a special type where it would be b minus 3 squared is equal to 0. Okay, in this case, that means I technically speaking have a double root. Okay, but all you have to do then is solve for b. So b is equal to 3. Okay, so we technically take the square root of both sides, square root of 0, 0. Square root of this obviously just gives me b minus 3. And so then move the 3 over, b is equal to 3. Okay, now, if you have one like 36, okay? So basically, if you can factor, it's really easy to solve. You just set the pieces equal to 0. So 36, we have m squared is equal to 7m. Okay, maybe you're like, whoa, wait a second, where's my 0? Because I've got to set it equal to 0. Well, you need to first move this piece over. So m squared minus 7m is equal to 0. Okay, make sure you leave a 0 here when you move something over. You still have stuff on this side. Now I need to factor this. Well, I don't have 3 pieces, so that makes it a little more complicated. But actually, that's what it seems, but actually it's really easy. I'm going to pull out an m, because I can factor out an m out of both pieces, leaving me with m minus 7 is equal to 0. Now, I need to still set both pieces equal to 0. So m is equal to 0, and m minus 7 is equal to 0. So m is equal to 0, and m is equal to 7. Okay? So I hope that kind of helps you guys to be able to factor, solve. This is a very, very critical thing to be able to do in math. So please, please, please make sure that you really work on those problems. As far as the problems I'm going to give you, we're going to go just because there should be a lot of time left. 3 through 35, every other odd. Okay, so 3, skip 5, 7, skip 9, 11, so on and so forth. 35 might not be included. If it's not included, then obviously stop at 33, but I think it's probably going to be included. So you have the rest of class to do this. Use your time wisely. Okay, you can help each other if need be, like normal, especially since I'm not here to help you. If you have a question, jot that down on your homework. Make sure your homework is still submitted on time. And if there's any big issues, you can send me a note on Google Classroom, or somebody can post whatever the question is. And if I'm available to get back to you, I will get back to you as soon as I can in that. So anyways, have a great day.